So Samsung's Galaxy S26 Plus isn't just a bigger version of the regular S26 flagship phone. No, it's also more expensive, starting from 1,099 British quid. You can chuck on an extra 150-ish if you fancy double the storage as well. Eesh, I think my testicles just launched themselves back inside of my abdomen. So you might be wondering if the S26 Plus is actually worth that whopping great pile of cash, given there's no big shiny new feature here like the Ultra model's fancy pants privacy display, and it's going up against absolute behemoths like the Oppo Find X9 Pro. Well, your Uncle Spurt has had his Sims stuffed away inside of that massive slab for this past week, so here's my Samsung Galaxy S26 Plus review, and for more on the latest and greatest tech, please do poke subscribe, ding that old notifications bell. Cheers! Now, if I actually had an S25 Plus from last year and I stuck it side by side with this here S26 Plus, I reckon it would be a case of serious squinting to try and work out which was which. You do have a slightly wider selfie camera orifice for this generation, while around back Samsung has joined the dots, linking those camera lenses together with a wee transparent island. You've got a fresh palette of colours to choose from, including a moody cobalt and this rather lush sky blue. I've got to say, it is a gorgeous tone, bright but not quite smack you in the face vibrant, and rather calming as well. My usual feelings of murderous rage are at least slightly smothered when I gaze at this thing's arse. As for the materials, well, you've got yourself an Armour aluminium frame like the rest of the fam, and a bit of Gorilla Glass Victus 2 front and back. Sadly, still no anti-reflective Armour 2 display for the Plus model, unlike the Ultra, so if you're lucky enough to live somewhere sunny, you might want to consider an upgrade. I was really hoping that by now that feature would have trickled down to the slightly less expensive but still pretty pricey flagships, but yeah, makes me a sad spurt. But still, gotta say, the Samsung Galaxy S26 Plus looks and feels like a premium phone, which is just as well really when you're spunking out over £1,000 on the bastard. One-handed use can be rather tricky, of course, as always, not really helped by the rather subtle camera bump, which certainly can't be successfully used as a handy finger shelf for stability. Oh, and the Plus is IP68 water and dust resistant, of course, same as the rest of the flagship, so it can get all spunky, you can drop it in the bath or whatever, and it won't hate you. Now, to unlock the S26 Plus, you've got yourself an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor built into that mighty display. This is reasonably responsive, and it certainly is dependable as well. I don't think I've had this thing fail on me a single time, even when my mitts have been proper moist or sticky or grubby. And then you're straight into a good bit of OneUI 8.5, complete with all those features we really love, like a good bit of now brief, start your day by learning just how the weather's going to be and how much money you owe people, and cat photos, that's nice at least. Ooh, let's see what's in my rainy day rock mix, shall we? It's mostly a whole heap of nope. Of course, how well you get on with OneUI will depend on how much you love Samsung, because you do get Samsung blasted at your face from the moment you start this thing up. And also, I hope you really like AI, or at the very least you just don't detest it. Because if you don't like AI, then buying a Samsung smartphone would be kind of like visiting Disneyland if you're terrified of massive anthropomorphic mice. You'll find most of the same features stuck in here as that S26 Ultra, including the likes of the audio eraser, which has now been updated so it works with the likes of YouTube, which helps to cut out the sound of really depressed Geordies in the background of matches like this. Creative Studio is now even more creative, which is great news if you're one of those people who sends out digital birthday cards. Not actually a bad idea now that a second-class stamp costs roughly the same as a week in the Algarve. And you've also got the fresh new Now Nudge, which is supposed to be similar to Google's Pixel Q feature. Basically, it just keeps tabs on whatever you're doing and then nudges useful information onto the screen when it reckons you'll need it. So, for instance, chatting with a mate in WhatsApp and they ask you what your plans are for this evening, it can pull up the calendar for you, something like that. I've never actually seen it properly be useful, to be honest. And that's despite sticking with the Samsung keyboard this past week, which I'm not a massive fan of. Usually switch that straight out for Gboard. So who knows, maybe future updates will make it a more worthy feature, but right now, certainly not convinced. You got some other pretty decent stuff like notification summarization, but the best new feature here by far is call screening. And this works exactly like Google's effort on the Pixel phones, demanding that any mystery callers reveal their identity and plead their case as to why you should actually pick up and speak with them. But anyway, if you're deeply fascinated by the latest OneUI, you want to know more about the best software features here on the Galaxy S26 Plus, I did a full S26 series tips and tricks guide covering all this stuff. Let's go check that out, and save me having to bang on about it again in this video. Now, the 6.7-inch display here on the Galaxy S26 Plus is kind of a happy medium if you want something a bit bigger than the dinky 6.3-inch screen on the regular S26. But don't quite want to stretch to the whopping great 6.9-inch bugger of the Ultra model. It might be quite a roomy screen, but you do get pin-sharp detail courtesy of the Quad HD Plus resolution. You just need to remember to actually switch this on in the display settings, because for some reason it is set to Full HD Plus by default. You got the likes of the Pro Scaler smarts as well, which upscales Full HD visuals to make the most of that crisp resolution. Quite vibrant, poppy colours. You got full HDR10 streaming support as well. Beautiful contrast. It really is a stunning display. Now, I've also found it's bright enough to use comfortably outside on a sunny day, but again with the caveat, I do live in the UK. So if you live somewhere where you actually get proper sunshine, well, you'll probably want to upgrade to that Ultra model, again with that anti-reflective screen coating. And of course, another S26 Ultra feature that you miss out on this here Plus model is that privacy display. Although frankly, this has been somewhat of a hot topic, shall we say, online, generating all of the rage on Reddit. Although frankly, even a cute disabled puppy would probably be told it's an attention-seeking on the absolute hate hive. And the refresh rate scales from 1 to 120 Hz. It's as smooth as you'd like, but the PWM dimming is still kind of cack on these Samsung smartphones, certainly compared with a lot of Chinese rivals. So if you are quite sensitive to OLED flicker, I would say look elsewhere. But the Galaxy S26 Plus speakers are pretty good. You got a stereo arrangement, although it is that bottom speaker that is working the hardest here versus that weaker earpiece speaker. But on top volume, the audio is strong enough to overcome a fair bit of background shindiggery. Those vocals still come through quite clear. There's not a bad amount of bass, so it's fine for your Netflixy, YouTubey shenanigans. And the Galaxy S26 Plus is powered by Samsung's own 2nm Exynos 2600 chipset, at least here in bloody Blighty. If you live in the States, you'll have that same Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 for Galaxy that you get stuffed into the Ultra model. But still, this Exynos model can quite happily handle a bit of multitasking, of course, bit of DeX, whatever you fancy throwing at it, and even a fair bit of gaming on the most RAM-sucking, GPU-thrashing Android titles out there. Wuthering Waves, for instance, played pretty well on the highest graphics level at 60 frames per second. It wasn't the best performance I've seen from a flagship, but the frame rate mostly stuck in those high 50s, only occasionally dropping during the most vicious bouts of fisticuffs. And that is with Samsung's performance mode switched on via the nifty pull-out OneUI gaming toolbar, which can also be used to take a screen grab, blitz notifications, all the usual kind of stuff. Now, and Samsung has apparently upgraded the vapor chamber and spruced up that TIM, that's the thermal interface materials for this generation. So the S26 Plus doesn't get particularly toasty even when you thrash the living heck out of it. It certainly can get a wee bit warm under pressure at times, but not to the point where I started to worry about the thing, and not so I saw any kind of throttling. As for the battery tech, well, this is exactly the same as last year's S25 Plus. It's another 4,900 mAh capacity cell, which is kind of measly for a plus-sized model compared with some Chinese rivals, which are 7,000, 8,000 mAh these days. Of course, if you are a lighter user, then you'll be perfectly happy with the battery life here, because I found that on a lighter day with sort of 5 to 6 hours of screen on time, but mostly just messaging and web browsing, I still had around sort of 35–40% battery life remaining at the end of that day. However, if you start to lean on the Galaxy S26 Plus, then it ain't quite so happy. So with a similar sort of 6-ish hours of screen on time, but with some actual video calls and a bit of video recording and photography using that camera chucked in, suddenly the battery is almost, if not actually completely dead by the time you're all tucked up with Teddy. And gaming in particular saps that battery super quick, so I found that, for instance, gaming on Wuthering Waves on that performance mode, I lost just over 30% battery every hour. So you will get approximately 3 hours of playtime on a full charge. And that is sadly one of the weaker results of any flagship phone that I've tested recently, which again isn't a massive surprise given the more reduced capacity. Bung a cable in the S26 Plus's bottom, and it's again a similar story to last year. You've once again got the super fast charging 2.0, 45 watts, so you get roughly a half charge in about half an hour-ish. A full 100% charge of a fully drained battery will still take the best part of an hour and a half. And you got 20-watt wireless charging support, Qi 2, but once again, no magnets built into that arse, so you'll need a supported case to get some proper magnetic charging on the go. And so, my lovelies, let's finish up this charming wee Galaxy S26 Plus review with a bit of a squint at that camera tech. And hey, it's basically the same camera lineup as the previous generation, so a 50 megapixel primary shooter. You've also got yourself a 10 megapixel telephoto shooter, that's with 3 times optical zoom, and a 12 megapixel ultra wide. And it's basically the same camera app as usual as well, so Samsung fans will know exactly what to do. Tap this wee bar down here, you can boost up the resolution to 50 meg if you want, only recommended if the conditions are ideal. You've got the likes of live photo shenanigans, sorry, motion photo as Samsung calls it. Got plenty of different camera features to play around with, including a dedicated Pro mode, as well as, of course, that Expert RAW mode. But for all of my testing, I just left it on the photo mode, full on auto, like most people will do. And of course, because the Plus basically has the same camera hardware and the same processor as the regular Galaxy S26, it's not a massive shock that the results are basically identical. So once again, expect bright snaps with bold colors and occasional saturation, including some blown out results when the sun is shining just the wrong way. That 10 meg telephoto sensor isn't quite a rival to alternative camera phones like the Oppo Find X9 Pro or the Vivo X300 Pro, but it can help you to get a reasonably crispy portrait as long as you don't punch up too close to the maxed out 30 times zoom level. At night times or in more ambient settings, the Galaxy S26 Plus can cope beautifully as long as you stick with that main sensor. Noise levels have been greatly reduced versus the S25 series, and tones aren't too muted. And unfortunately, the other camera sensors do struggle in soft light, so zoom in with the telephoto lens, you'll likely get a low-res, poorly focused shot. And as with the regular S26, once again the focus can be a wee bit soft at times, not always locking onto a face, especially if it's a cute little fuzzy face like this. And when it comes to moving subjects, well, the Galaxy S26 Plus sometimes copes just fine and sometimes absolutely fills its Y-fronts. A few of my action shots were keepers, but most of them were a bit blurry or once again out of focus, whether I was using the main sensor or that telephoto. So if you've got kids or pets or whatever, you'll certainly be much better off with the likes of an Oppo or a Vivo. For your video-based shenanigans, you can, as always, capture Ultra HD footage at 30 or 60 frames per second, otherwise you can bump all the way up to 8K resolution with that main sensor. You can actually shoot in HDR at that 8K resolution as well, but there's no support for APV here, just log shooting, same as before. And overall, the Galaxy S26 Plus does a pretty decent job, especially in the evenings thanks to the video boost feature, which can automatically crush any noise, keep everything crisp and bright, and there's no need for that footage to actually be uploaded and processed online, unlike with the Pixel smartphones. I also really like the Horizon Lock feature as well, which is ideal when shooting action video at 4K 30 or 60 frames per second. That'll be particularly good if you've got a rather active lifestyle, exactly like I don't. And then up front you've got yourself a 12 megapixel selfie camera with a slightly wider orifice now, offering a slightly wider field of view so you can fit a few more faces into frame if you've, got mates. And using this, you can record your hopefully slightly less haggard face than mine at Ultra HD level at 30 or 60 frames per second with HDR enabled as well. So it's a bit of a banger if you're a bit of vlogging and all that, especially as the stabilization's pretty good, as you can see there. Obviously ideal for a bit of video chat shenanigans. And anyway, there you have it, my lovelies. That in a delicious wee nutshell is the fresh new Samsung Galaxy S26 Plus, a perfectly fine big screen smartphone. Although perfectly fine, not really ideal when you're spunking out well over $1,000, and it certainly doesn't feel as flagshipy compared with some rivals from the likes of Oppo, Vivo, and even Honor. If you're a more demanding user, do a good bit of gaming or play around with the cameras a lot, you'll find that battery life ain't too hot. And speaking of those cameras again, they just feel a little bit too basic compared with what you can get from a lot of rivals at a similar price. For me, the Galaxy S26 Ultra certainly feels like more of a flagship smartphone. I have done a full comparison of that with the Pixel 10 Pro XL if you want to see how it stacks up against Google's mega flagship. I'm hoping to do a full review of that bad boy soon. But what do you reckon of the Galaxy S26 Plus and the S26 phones in general? It'd be great to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell while you're down there. Have yourselves a ruddy, wonderful rest of the week. Cheers everybody, love you!